Hello everyone, welcome to my second video lecture on ICT Unit 2. As I said in the first session, second unit also covers other computer terminology. In this unit, we are going to discuss various types of computer memory, hardware, software, firmware, operating system, Microsoft Disk Operating System, Microsoft Windows Operating System, etc. This is our syllabus. See, primary memory, auxiliary memory, cache memory, memory devices, software, hardware, firmware, and peopleware, definition and types of operating systems, functions of operating systems, MS-DOS, MS Windows. In MS Windows, various components like desktop, my computer, my pictures, music, video, recycle bin, taskbar, control pan. This is the syllabus. Let's move to our first topic, that is primary memory. What does it mean, memory? It is something in the computer memory that you want to store data and your information. It seems to be like chip. Memory refers to chip-based storage. If you see memory, if you open our CPU, if you want to see the memory in the system unit, it looks like a small scale, that is a chip. Okay. When you talk about memory, we call it as a primary memory. Memory means primary. Why it is called memory as primary means our CPU communicates with primary memory only. It accesses data and information only from primary memory. If I talk memory, by default I have to consider it as a primary memory. There is a other type of memory, that is secondary memory. That is our second topic. We call it as an auxiliary memory, where we can store our data permanently. It stores large volumes of data. We will discuss later. Our topic is primary memory. Okay. So what it consists of, this primary memory? This primary memory consists of only an active data, active files. Whatever are the files that the user currently referring, currently open and currently working, whatever the data currently accessing, all the data and information stored in primary memory. Okay. So primary memory comes in computer system in the form of RAM, that is random access memory. Let's move to the types of main memory. Primary, the other name for primary memory is main memory. There are two types of main memory: random access memory and read-only memory. First, let's come to the random access memory. What does it consist of? As I said earlier, random access memory, we considered it as a primary memory for our system. ROM is used for some other purpose. We will discuss later in this topic only. So in our computer, primary memory means we have to think like it is a RAM. Primary memory ante RAM, random access memory. మీరు ఏదైనా ఒక షాప్కి వెళ్ళి, if you want to buy any PC or if you want to buy any laptop, they will say some configuration, RAM size 4GB, 8GB అని చెప్తూ ఉంటారు. So this 4GB, 8GB, that memory we can call it as a main memory or a primary memory. 1 TB hard disk or హార్డ్ డిస్క్ అని చెప్తూ ఉంటాం. దట్ ఈజ్ ఎ సెకండరీ మెమరీ. మీన్స్ పర్మనెంట్లీ వీ కెన్ సేవ్ అప్ టు 1 terabytes ఆఫ్ డేటా. In RAM, how many active files at a time it consists of? If it is a 4 GB RAM, up to 4 GB. If it is a 8 GB RAM, up to 8 GB. Okay. So see here, when the computer is powered on, certain operating system files load into RAM. What is an operating system? It is an interface between your computer and user. Interface between computer and user. Without operating system, we cannot directly communicate with the various components of the system. We need some interface. That interface we can call it as a operating system. It is also a program or it is also a software. Always running program. I can also call it as operating system. Always running program. Okay. To run any program, we have to keep that program into primary memory, that is RAM. So when the computer is turned on, power is on or switched on, immediately the operating system files are loaded into RAM from the secondary storage. This operating system remains in RAM as long as the computer has continuous power. When it is switched off, the data will last. That's why I can call it as a RAM as a volatile. What does it mean, volatile? When the power off, entire data will last. That feature we can call it as volatile. All data in RAM is lost when the computer is switched off. So that's why it is described as volatile. It has a direct access. Both kind of operations are permissible here, that is read and write. This random access memory further divided into two types: dynamic random access memory, static random access memory. Generally, DRAM is used for primary memory purpose, which is used to store data and instruction. SRAM is used for cache memory. We will discuss later as third topic, cache memory. Okay. RAM is a semiconductor chip which stores data or information in the form of bits. When the power is on, means when the voltage is high, it record the data as bit 1, or when the voltage is low, it record the data as bit 0. Based on electrical power, it stores the data in the form of bits, ones and zeros. This data, this chip has to be refreshed frequently, otherwise the data will last. So every time that DRAM, dynamic random access memory, has to be refreshed. How many times it has to be refreshed means hundreds of times a second. Per second, 100 times it has to be refreshed. That's why this DRAM is somewhat slower than SRAM. While refreshing, the CPU has to wait. Central processing unit has to wait. CPU is the fastest unit in the computer device. CPU is the fastest unit which operates at clock speed. So it has to wait while it is under refreshing. That's why it is somewhat slower than static RAM. How the data is recorded in static RAM? Let's move to the SRAM, that is static random access memory. Here we need not refresh the data. Means with the help of the transistors we can write the data, and that data is permanent, means that is static. Static means fixed. The data is permanent. Until we rewrite, the data is permanent. This is somewhat expensive than RAM chips, DRAM chips. See, let's see here the differences between SRAM and DRAM. SRAM is static while DRAM is dynamic in nature. As I said, DRAM is somewhat slower, means SRAM is faster compared to DRAM. And moreover, SRAM consumes more power. To store the data in terms of bits, it uses various number of transistors. So they consume more power. Okay. SRAM more expensive also. To construct the circuitry with the transistors, it is expensive when compared to the DRAM. This cheaper DRAM is used as a main memory while SRAM is commonly used as a cache memory, as I said. Okay. Cache memory is the fastest memory. It sits in between CPU and the main memory. Frequently used instructions are placed into the cache memory. If I want to refer the data, same data repeatedly, I need not go to the main memory every time. CPU directly go to the cache memory, which is faster memory, which takes less time for the CPU to access from the cache memory. So SRAM, generally SRAM chips are used to construct cache memory. DRAM chips are used to construct main memory. Let's move to the second type of main memory, that is the read-only memory, where we can record the data permanently. Once we record instructions and data, it cannot be erased. But whereas in RAM, we can easily erase and we can easily rewrite the data. That rewrite is not possible with the ROM, read-only memory. Once we write, it is only applicable for reading. That's why this memory is called as read-only memory. And this memory is non-volatile memory, whereas RAM is volatile memory. Even when the power is turned off, thus data is permanent. Once we record the data is permanent in the ROM chips. What is the use of this ROM? To permanently record instructions and data. As I said, when computer is turned on, booting takes place. Suppose if your computer system consists of a Windows operating system, if you see like scrolling Windows 10 or Windows 7 or Windows XP, what happened at that time? The booting takes place. What does it mean? Booting. Boot the operating system into the, load the operating system into the main memory. As long as operating system is in main memory only, we can do various types of tasks with the system. Otherwise we can't do. The interface is not provided with the user, to the user, so he cannot work, he cannot do his own tasks. So to provide interface to the user, the operating system must be kept in main memory. Okay, that process we call it as booting. From where this booting is also some kind of program. So computer system cannot work without giving instructions. In the first unit we discussed. So booting is also some task. We give instructions to the computer to load the operating system from read-only memory, ROM, to the main memory. Okay. To do that booting process, we use ROM chips. So as I said, to check different units of computer system, to load the operating system into the computer memory, we use generally ROM chips. Types of read-only memory. Read-only memory also comes in different forms. Programmable read-only memory, EPROM. Erasable programmable read-only memory, electrically erasable programmable read-only memory. First let's come to the PROM, programmable read-only memory. Here PROM initially is a blank ROM chip where we can write program instructions and data only once. Once we record data and instructions into this PROM chip, it cannot be changed. It cannot be erased. Once we program this chip, it will be, call it as a normal ROM chips, means it cannot be erased. ఒకసారి మనం ఈ పీరోమ్లోకి రికార్డ్ చేసిన తర్వాత మళ్ళీ ఎరేజ్ చేయటం అనేది జరగదు. నెక్స్ట్ EPROM, Erasable Programmable Read Only Memory. The name itself says we can able to erase its content. How we can erase this content? This content we can erase with the help of ultraviolet rays. So that's why it's called as erasable programmable read-only memory. Third one, electrically erasable programmable read-only memory. This can be rewritten easily by using electric devices. Means these ROM chips can be easily modified when compared to the previous two categories. Anyway, programmable read-only memory erase is not possible. Erasable programmable read-only memory, by using ultraviolet rays we can erase. This is third category. It's very easy. With the kind of electric devices we can easily modify the data in read-only memory. These are the three types of ROM. With this we finished our first topic, that is primary memory. Primary memory is in two forms: random access memory, read-only memory. We discussed those two topics. Next is auxiliary memory. We can also call it as a secondary memory or a permanent memory. A system should consist of some permanent memory to save all our files or all our data and information permanently. So generally this memory came into the picture to overcome the limitations of the primary storage. As I said, primary storage is volatile. When the computer is turned off, entire data will lost. As memory becomes cheaper, cost per bit decreases, larger capacity of memory is came into the market. Means even nowadays we are buying pen drives and all, USB drives and all with less cost when compared to the previous days. As days are going, memory becomes cheaper and cheaper. Okay, then this auxiliary memory came into the picture when the cost per bit is decreasing. Means why don't we have a large amount of memory that can store our data permanently? With that idea it came into the picture. Larger capacity of data is permanently stored in this auxiliary memory. That's why it is called it as a non-volatile memory. This auxiliary memory is in two forms: magnetic memory, optical disks. Magnetic memory, as I said, both permanent memory, this magnetic memory. Why we can call it as a magnetic memory means data can be stored on magnetic coated surface. By applying on that surface, by applying electric pulses, we can record the data on magnetic coated surface. Two types of recording: longitudinal and vertical recording. How can we read the data? Means by using MR sensor. Magnetoresistive sensor is used to read the data. Okay, in these kind of memory, both type of operations are allowed: read and write with the help of header. Next is magnetic disk. Magnetic memory comes in different forms. First one is magnetic disk. Disk means we can see it looks like a circular, it has some circular surface. Okay, that we can call it as a platter. Read write data on its surface only. That circular surface, here we can see in this figure, this is our circular surface. Okay, see here we are seeing several circles. This is another circle, and this is another circle. In this figure we are seeing three different circles. Each circle here means the surface is divided into various type of circles. This is our inner circle, next most inner circle, and then the next outer circle. Okay, these circles I can call it as tracks. And then further these, see these circles again divided. See here some vertical lines. So these lines divides the entire tracks into sectors. So surface is divided into tracks and sectors. And this disk has disk controller, and it has read write header also. Okay, see here clearly tracks and sectors, these are all we can call it as tracks. In this figure we can see 4 tracks, and how a track is divided into sector. These are different sectors. What is the use of disk controller? This disk controller is a interface between CPU and the disk system. Means where we can record our data. How do we select the track and sector, and how do we issue commands to the disk, where to read and where to write up, all these read and write operations. To perform read and write operations we use this disk controller. So if any error is there, to detect the error, or to perform read and write operation, or to select the track and sector, we use this disk controller. Magnetic disks is in two forms, hard disk and floppy disk. Most familiar hard disk మనకు తెలిసినది. Every computer system has permanent memory with hard disk only. Floppy disk, in before the invention of the CDs, compact discs and DVDs, these floppy disks are used as removable storages. Means we can carry anywhere, we can put the data into these disks and we can carry to different places. So these disks we can call it as a floppy disk. This is also magnetic material. This is also made up with magnetic material. Let's discuss those two types of disks, hard disks and floppy disks. And this is used to store bulk amount of information. How this kind of hard disk can be made? With a aluminum material, made up of aluminum with thin coating of magnetic material. Aluminum over thin coating of magnetic material. On that material, with the help of electric pulses, we can record the data. So for desktops it is 3.5 inches, for the portable computers it is 2.5 inches. How can we measure the hard disk storage capacity? As I said, the disk surface is divided into tracks. Again the tracks divided into sectors. In each sectors we can record the data in the form of bytes. So total storage capacity, how can we calculate? Means number of recording, how many surfaces we have, how many tracks per surface, and how many sectors per track, how many number of bytes are recorded per sector. This total will give us the storage capacity of the disk. Nowadays we can call this storage capacity of hard disk as 512 GB or else 1 terabyte or 256 GB. 2's multiple, the value is 2's multiple. Now let's see access mechanism of the hard disk. As I said, hard disks, DISKs, disks means it is not a single disk. Several disks arranged as a stack over the spindle. This vertical bar I can call it as a spindle. Here the disks are arranged, a stack of disks are arranged one after the Another, each disk has several surfaces. As I said, the surface again divided into tracks and sectors. And sectors, in terms of bytes, the data is recorded. So for every disk, we have for every surface, we have a read-write header. See, here there is a read-write header, another read-write header, another read. For every surface, we have a separate read-write header. In this way, we can access the hard disks. Next, floppy disks. These are made up with plastic material. Very less amount of data only we can store. As I said, for these are called as a removable storage devices. We can put some data, carry to some other places. In olden days, before the inventions of CDs and DVDs, these floppy disks plays a vital role. Okay, these are made up with plastic material, mylar we can call it as, same coated with magnetic material. This also call it as a diskette. It is a removable type of device, generally used for backup storage. Two different mini floppies and micro floppies, their sizes are also given. They look like a square flexible vinyl jacket, and the first type of mini floppy provides us 1.2 bytes of size, and second category 1.14 megabytes of size, very less amount of storage. Next, magnetic tapes. Generally tapes are used for backup only. Hard disk, permanent memory. Whenever we open our system, directly we can access all the files. Suppose if for some businesses large amount of data is generated day to day, where to keep this large amount of data? Hard disks are somewhat costlier than magnetic tapes. So to take the backup, these magnetic tapes are used. This is made up with polyester coated with magnetizable material. Size varies from 3 to 12.7 mm. And these are available in reel form, cartridge form and cassette form also. Storage capacity, data recording density and length. Okay, here also we can have tracks, but those tracks are in parallel. Here we can see the horizontal rows are called as tracks or channel. Vertical columns are called as frames. Okay, mainly the purpose of magnetic tape is generally nowadays used for backup purpose only. To give us permanent storage, hard disks are used. For backup, magnetic tapes are used. Floppy disks, anyway, nowadays they are not in use. In that place, CDs and DVDs came into picture. Next, optical disks. Second category. Auxiliary memory in two forms, as I said, magnetic and optical. Second is optical disks. With the help of laser beam, we can perform read and write operation. And these disks has high storage capacity when compared to magnetic floppy disks. These are also generally used for backup memory. These are also called as removable. These are generally used as removable storage devices. Storage organization. We have only long spiral CD, one CD, that long spiral only means it consists of only one track. The track is divided into equal length sectors. Here you can see equal length sectors. So the storage capacity, we can measure it as number of sectors into number of bytes per sector. Types of optical discs: compact discs and digital versatile discs, DVDs. Compact discs also in three forms: CD-R, CD-ROM, CD rewritable. Compact discs for reading, compact discs for read-only memory, compact discs for rewritable operations. Similarly, digital versatile discs also in three forms: DVD-R, DVD-ROM and DVD read-write. This is about auxiliary memory, that is secondary memory, in two forms: magnetic disks and optical disks. Under magnetic disks we discussed about hard disk, floppy disk, and then magnetic tapes. And the optical disks we discussed about CDs and DVDs. Next is a cache memory. As I said, the purpose of the cache memory: our CPU communicate with RAM only. That's why we can, the other name for RAM is main memory, which is made with DRAM. Means it has to be refreshed every time. At the time of refreshing, the CPU has to wait. That's why it is slowest memory. Okay. There is some speed mismatch between CPU and the random access memory. To balance it, in between we built another kind of memory, that is a cache memory. It sits in between CPU and main memory. It is an expensive memory. Previous we discussed SRAM and DRAM chips. Okay. So cache is made with SRAM chips. So it is an expensive memory, means it cannot come with larger storage, only less storage. So what kind of data we can put in cache memory? Most frequently used instructions and data we can kept in cache memory. If I want to refer the data again and again, that data I can kept into the cache. That is the cache memory. How a CPU access this cache memory? To fetch any instructions and data from the computer memory, initially it checks into the cache. If it is there in cache, it can access. If it is not there in cache, it goes to the main memory, that is RAM, and from there it can access the data. Okay. If an item found in cache memory, I can call it as a hit. If an item not found in cache memory, I can call it as a miss. Okay. Hit ratio means how much amount of time the data is accessed from the cache. Okay. Suppose if 90% of the time I can able to found items into the cache, my hit ratio is 90%. If I able to access 50% of the time from the cache, the hit ratio is 50%. This is our cache memory. So let's move to the next topic, that is hardware. Hardware is the physical aspect of the computer and various telecommunications and other devices. It includes not only the computer components but also various cables, connectors and other power supply units and other peripheral devices that are attached to the computer, like keyboard, mouse, audio, speakers. Collectively we can call all these things. We can touch and sense those kind of devices. So that's why we can call it as a hardware. Means we can see and we can touch and we can sense. Types of hardware: internal hardware, various types of hardwares we have: internal hardware, input hardware, output hardware, connecting hardware, storage hardware. Let's move to the first one, internal hardware. This internal hardware we can also call it as the components of the computer system. They are CPU, motherboard, RAM, ROM. Central processing unit, previous we discussed, it is the brain of the computer. Most of the calculations that takes place here. It has two units: arithmetic logic unit and control unit. Motherboard, it is a circuit board of any microcomputer which contains all our CPU, memory, any expansion slots, any controllers, means disk controllers, DVD controllers, everything that is attached to this circuitry board. That board we can call it as a motherboard. Random access memory means to kept all our operating system and active data, active program, application programs and active data we can kept in RAM. Read only memory, we can record the data once and we can read that data unlimited number of times. Input hardware. What is input hardware? What are all the external devices that are used to give information to the computer? Those devices we can call it as input hardware. Common are keyboard, mouse, scanner, various other also there. First unit we discussed. Keyboard means it is like a typewriter like keys. If that keys are enabled, we can able to enter the data into the computer. And then mouse, it is a pointing device which controls the display cursor over the display screen. Scanner, it can read the text printed on any paper and convert into a form suitable for the computer that can use. Output hardware, what are all the other devices that are used to give or to transfer information from the computer to the user? Those kind of hardware we can call it as output hardware. Common are monitor, printer and speaker. Monitor means every system is having some display screen where user can see all kind of data. It can see text data, video data or whatever it may be. Everything a computer want to give some information to the user in any form, over the monitor it displays it to the user. And if a computer want to give a hard copy form of the information to the user, we use printer. Printer will print all the information over the paper and that can be used by the user as a hard copy. Speaker, if you want to hear some audio data from the computer, we use speakers. This is hardware. Next, connecting hardware. Connecting devices generally used, how various hardware devices to communicate with one another. Common connecting devices are modem, LAN card. To connect your personal computer to any network, we use this by using some regular telephone line. We can connect our computer to dial-up network with the help of modem. LAN card, this is also a connecting device. It connects your device with the wireless internet access. So it connects to the internet. Your system is to be connected to the internet with the help of the LAN card. Next, storage hardware, the various type of devices used to store your information, data and information. Previously we discussed hard disk, floppy disk, CD-ROM. Hard disk, it can store your data permanently. Floppy disk means it is a removable disk. We can carry some limited amount of data from one place to another place. CD-ROM, it is an optical drive. With the help of the laser beam, we can record the data. This is faster when compared to the flash. So this is about hardware. We discussed various types of hardwares like input hardware, internal hardware, output hardware and connecting hardware. This is the first part of Unit 2. I will discuss the second half of Unit 2 in the next session. Thank you.